growth. She joins us this evening for a detailed discussion of the airline's revitalized strategy, the envisaged expansion plan, and how they plan on impacting economic growth in Botswana. Good evening and welcome to Botswana Tonight. MAITSEBOENG.
Good evening to you, Khomozo, and to the viewers at home. Thank you so much for having me this evening.
Thank you so much for honoring us, ma'am, with your presence. We are here tonight. Of course, we talk about procurement of new aircrafts, but I want us to really start with the strategy behind, because like we said, you had a media briefing where you talked about the turnaround strategy for Air Botswana. Just briefly take us through that.
So perhaps I think I'll start with, if you may please, allow me to apologize to all our customers who were impacted by our recent delays and changes to schedule over the past week. And perhaps with that, this is what leads us to the conversation and to the fact that why the need for the airline to procure new equipment. It is part of the expansion plan, and it is also very strategic in trying to stabilize the airline. I think one should appreciate that a national carrier is actually an investment on the part of government. It helps insofar as enabling the economy. So if you look at tourism, for example, how do people get to the destinations that they wish to go to? How do people access our Okavango Delta? It is through flying.
Okay, now we talk about a national carrier being one of those that enable the economy, obviously citing tourism as an example. But we do know that for the longest time, you've just apologized to your customers, your stakeholders right now. But we do know this is something that Air Botswana has battled with for the longest time. So let's just talk about generally what has been or what are the issues at Air Botswana and procurement of new aircrafts. Does it just solve everything, or there are other things behind the scenes that we're looking at here?
So procurement of the fleet definitely is a large contributor to making sure that we are stabilized. If I can give an example as well relating to perhaps what happened in the past week. We are currently running an airline with 3 aircraft. You find one perhaps has gone in for maintenance, and as luck would have it or not have it, last week we had a bird strike. That's when a bird flies into an aircraft, which means now for safety reasons, again, we need to ground that, right? So we're left with what? With one plane. And yet we have routes that we are currently running. So that really takes us back. But I think besides that, the airline, I think there's been issues around customer service and customer complaints. But one does appreciate that people have been affected by COVID. During the COVID, we had to restructure the airline insofar as employees are concerned. Obviously, this has got a big impact on staff morale. So one of the pillars that we are driving very hard at the airline is coming up with an employee value proposition, because it's through our employees that we can then satisfy our customers.
Okay. Yes. I think Sir Richard Branson actually says it quite well, what you say, that if you take care of your employees, they will take care of your business. Now, let's just talk about airlines, national carriers, if I have to use that word, particularly in the African context, are not known for being financially stable. I mean, quite often we hear issues around flight delays, we hear issues around liquidity, and we hear issues around how expensive it is to fly either locally here within Botswana or within the African continent in particular. From you and your strategy, what is it that we are going to do? Because if you are going to use the national carrier, particularly Moharona, what are we doing then to drive traffic such that we are able to, as these are coming in, we are also able to take advantage? It's no longer a purview of those who have or the private sector or government as they transport their officials.
So some of the most successful airlines in the world are state-owned. I think what's important is, to your point, that it's expensive to run an airline. When you look at as well the currency through which we procure, be it parts, be it fuel, is dollar denominated, US dollar, right? So oftentimes, depending on the pula to dollar exchange rate, one does get hit by foreign exchange losses. And that's something that one has got to appreciate. I think it's not a linear relationship insofar as if the airline is full all the time, does it mean the bottom line is healthy? Yes, the bottom line could be healthy, but one has got to look at the operational efficiencies. So to a large extent, when it comes to, I think, the balance sheet, say your acquisition of your aircraft, that one would always need the government to intervene. Hence why we've been funded by the government to procure this aircraft. Like I said, some of the most dominant and very well-run airlines are supported by government. I think oftentimes we look at an airline and we don't see it as infrastructure investment. So I use a very simple example. We look at a road, right? People use the road, they transport goods by road. They drive home by road. Do you expect the road to be profitable? Maybe not.
Maybe not,
so the only difference, and actually not, but the fact of the matter is it is driving an economy. So if I'm moving goods, I'm driving an economy. If I'm bringing people into the country, I'm driving the economy. These are the very people who come and invest in Botswana. So if you were to ask me, where can we say, if we were to look at how Botswana contributes, we should look at how many people we bring in for tourism. How many days those people spend in Botswana, putting money, paying for hotels in Botswana. So I think that's what we have got to be very clear about. Why is air travel also so important? Let's look at COVID. How do you think we're all getting masks and sanitizers? How do they come into the country? By air.
Okay.
So those are some of the things that one has got to be, but it's also about how we engage and make sure that our shareholder, being the government, actually understands the dynamics and the complexities around it.
Okay. It's quite interesting that you speak of shareholders being the government, and I just want to throw this in, and now I'm really speaking from a very personal space because it pains me. Because we've got a national carrier being Botswana, of course, and then we've got competition, particularly Gaborone Johannesburg route, where quite often you find parastatals that take from the same government preferring the other route as opposed to the national carrier. Now, I think just when we speak of economy and investment in the infrastructure, that obviously takes away. Is there anything effectively that we are doing around that just to ensure that, of course, it is competition and it's healthy, but to ensure that we are not taking from the pairs that we also expect so much of?
I like what you've said because I think you've just positioned my view. I'm glad it's coming from you. But to your point, competition is healthy. But I'm alive to the fact that with being disappointed on numerous occasions, you being the customer, your confidence in Air Botswana will be impacted, right? But part of the whole exercise is to stabilize and make sure that we are able to confidently say we are on time, we'll get you to where we want. Notwithstanding the fact that it is not a unique thing that planes get delayed. It happens more often actually than maybe we know, but we are a small community. But I think my mandate is to make sure that Botswana can become confident in the airline. And I think that's why I'm not shy of speaking to you and speaking for the airline. That we receive a lot of criticism a lot of the time, but we accept it, we embrace it. We can only get better for so long as we are given the right criticism so that we can work hard to improve the airline.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we talk about expansion, we talk about new routes. Just briefly take us through those routes and why these routes in particular.
So I think insofar as new routes, it's quite deliberate in what we're trying to do. Once again, I think really trying to drive tourism very hard. So one of the routes that we are considering is Windhoek into Maun, targeting possibly the German tourist, because Germans do visit Namibia a lot, because Namibia is a German colony. But we're also looking at a route like Nelspruit, because that's where the Kruger National Park is. So you find that when tourists come into Africa, they would like to at least visit 3 different tourist destinations within the continent. They're not going to fly into Africa just for one country. So those are some of the considerations. We are looking at Gaborone Durban. And this is for the fact that we know that the KZN, so far as students are concerned, there's a huge student community of Botswana in the KZN. The children fly in and out of Durban 4 times a year. There are midterm breaks and there is sports events which the parents have got to attend. So those are the routes that we're looking at. We're looking at Cape Town direct into Maun, Cape Town direct into Kasane, still promoting tourism. So to a large extent, we work very, very closely with Botswana Tourism Organization and HATAB as well, insofar as formulating how we can really boost the tourism industry in Botswana, because we are a beautiful country and people do want to visit this country.
Okay.
Also because we are very safe.
Now, let's just talk about something here as well. Quite often when we talk about tourism, for example, a number of activities throughout the year in Maung, and suddenly Air Botswana is fully booked. And quite often we say, didn't they know that there's this X event? Couldn't they just schedule 3-4 flights in a day or however much? Is it something as simple as that, like on a road where you could say,
yeah,
so that we've got 5 combis going in the same direction? Is it as easy as that?
It isn't as simple as that, but with planning, it can be done. So you hear me speak about working very closely with Botswana Tourism Organization, where now we're able to say, please share the annual, the annual plan of the sort of activities that we envisage. So if you look at the Kazungula Bridge Marathon, we actually had more flights to Kasane than is typical. So we do work very closely, but also it's around limitation of the current fleet. When you only have 3, and you also have to be at other places, because it's not everybody wants to go to Kasane. You have other people who had planned to go to Joburg anyway. So that really limits us. So really, this is part of why we are refleeting, to take care of what you're speaking to.
Okay.
Yes. It's not as simple, but there is a science behind it, and I'm not saying it's impossible. It can be done.
Okay. Would this also take care of Horenka Karona? I'm going to Kasane, but I have to have a pit stop in Francistown for others to board and for others to take off as well.
I think the issue there is more around communication. I think it's not typical, it's not foreign to other airlines. You do fly via somewhere. It's just that maybe when we sell the ticket, we don't tell somebody, you're going to fly to Kasane, but via Francistown, for example. And remember, we do this as well because of cost considerations, right? If we want to make our tickets more affordable, we are going to have to do that, but we must communicate. I mean, I have competitors who I won't name, but they do exactly that coming into Botswana. We stop somewhere and then we come to Gabs. But there's absolutely nothing wrong in it, but we have got to communicate.
Okay.
Yes.
I mean, your strategy speaks to making Air Botswana financially sustainable. How do we envision all things being fair 5 years from today when we look back? What are sort of the pieces that have to come into play to get to where we want to go?
One, we must fly on time so that we don't lose customers, right? Our schedule must have integrity so that we don't chop and change dates that we're supposed to travel. To your point, what you spoke about earlier on, employee. If the employee you take off the employee will look after the customer, the bottom line will take care of itself. We have got to be at a point where our travel agents have got confidence in us, such that if you're booking a holiday, they will not be shy of flying you Air Botswana because they know we'll get there. So really, I think it's about all those things. When they come into play, you regain your market share and you're able to fly and you're able to at least up your top line.
Okay.
Yes. I was also being very cost conscious.
Okay, I think you mentioned the question that I wanted to ask about being cost conscious, because again, I still think if I want kulula.com for example, when you are in South Africa, when it was, people would say, you know, you can fly, it's cheap, fly Safari, it's relatively affordable, Mango, relatively affordable. When are we going to, what would it take for us to get to a point where we could say, you know what, it's relatively affordable? Is it a case of numbers? What is it?
We are definitely a small population. I mean, yes, we have people who come from Francistown but live in Gaborone. How often do they go to Francistown? And to your point around, you're making a comparison with South African airlines. you can find almost 10 flights to Cape Town per day, and they're all full because it's a huge economy. It has many, many people in it. But I also want to say to you that we're actually relatively affordable. We are not the cheapest airline, but when you compare with our peers, we are quite affordable. Flying in South Africa itself, at least to certain destinations, could be that it's cheaper. But within South Africa still, if you are to fly from, say, Joburg to East London, you're likely to pay 5,000 rand because of the volumes. So it's really a numbers game.
Okay. Now, we've procured these 3 Bremba jets. There's one still in the process. We are excited, but surely there must be some risks that we've factored in. What are those, and how does that look like?
So definitely the aircraft that we are acquiring, jets are not cheap to maintain, but and it's a risk that we are alive to. The maintenance costs associated with that, the jet fuel required. But I think we are mitigating in that we're going to be very aggressive in our marketing. We are not going to want to fly with a plane which is half full or half empty. And it's also around the fact that with the different size aircraft, you're able to plan because you say, okay, we're going to Joburg, but the sales volumes seem to be low. We are swapping this aircraft for this smaller one. So it's really around being very looking forward rather than being reactionary. You look at the possibilities and you play around with your fleet.
Okay.
Yes.
I think as we come to the end of our conversation, again, building confidence, reassuring your stakeholders about the future of Botswana, and of course the role that they play in driving economic growth in the country. Can you just briefly speak to us in summary?
So yes, definitely, like I say, you'll find our contribution in different pockets of the economy. But besides people, we also do move goods. So there's also an opportunity that we are looking at very aggressively. We've started engaging with different ministries for their cargo needs, where a ministry needs to bring in something into the country. We will be that company where we'll engage because we are the aviation experts insofar as movement of goods. We're also looking at what is it in this country that is required outside of this country, such that we are also able to move those goods to where they are required. I think the refleet also insofar as the economy, it presents itself as a great opportunity for job creations. Airlines by nature, it create a lot of jobs. So already as part of the exercise, we are busy, it's ongoing with the recruitment of pilots, the recruitment of cabin crew, the recruitment of ground handling staff. So I believe an airline is very pivotal in assisting the government also with the agenda of reducing unemployment.
Thank you so much, Rasabotsa. I think when you talk about being able to, I mean, as far as cargoes are concerned, also speaks to the fact that now we've got the Africa Free Trade Continental Trade Agreement in place, definitely playing a part there in moving and facilitating goods in between Botswana and other countries. And of course, we look forward to a brand new Air Botswana.
Thank you so much. And like I say, I'd like for Botswana at home to know what we are here, we listen, we don't run away from our problems, we learn through our problems. This is business, business is dynamic. And we'll keep changing with the dynamic environment.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was Ms. Lulu Rasebotsa, the General Manager of Air Botswana, speaking to us about the future of Air Botswana, the critical role that Air Botswana plays in facilitating economic growth across the various facets of the economic sector, and of course, facilitation of movement between Botswana and many other countries, and with the new added routes, pursuing rigorously the expansion strategy.